Today we're going to talk about Awaken Mars, your inner warrior. We all have Mars in our charts. It's a question of where and how he works. So I do Western tropical astrology, and for those of you that have been with me for a while and looked at taking part of my presentations, it's like, why is she saying this every time? I know this already. Yes, I know. And there are new people that come every time. That don't know. Also, if you're not like versed in astrology and you just think, astrology is a chart, period. Not that easy. I do the whole house system, and there are more than 30 different house systems. That means that it's one sign per house, always very regular. And I have talked about why in other presentations. And I do also want to recommend you to look at my previous presentations. You can find them all here on LinkedIn, because as soon as this is done, it turns into a recording. And the recording can be found on LinkedIn. So if you did click attend on this, you will have a mail from LinkedIn. And when you click that, you will get straight to the recording. Whenever, or if it's something that you're interested in, you can also DM me and ask, I would like to have a link for this or that, and I will help you out. I also do a mix of ancient and modern techniques. I'm not going to go in technically to what that means, but I take from modern findings, and one of them is the asteroids and the modern planets that of course existed since billions of years, but were not used in ancient astrology. So having said that, I first also want to just recommend that you take a look at, actually it's 3 presentations. The Pivotal 2025, where I talk about next year and what happens then, because it's going to be a year that we perhaps haven't seen in human history ever before. And then I talk about Pluto in 2025, which is a very important aspect of what's going on next year, and the next one was the retrogrades of 2025. So there are 3 presentations about next year, and then I will make a 4th one at the beginning of January. So you can see, you can use these links to get there, and they are, as I said, they are put on, not hold, you can find them on LinkedIn. Let's put it that way. They are recorded there. So today we have an agenda, as always, and first I will introduce Mars and talk about Mars, the ruler of 2 signs. Mars retrograde, add a little onto that one. Mars in the signs, different signs, and here you can, if you feel like it, you can take screenshots. I will talk a little about my story and my surgeon, and putting this presentation together was extraordinarily emotional for me. I have cried a lot. You're talking about it now, it's like, okay, I will probably cry. I have no problems with that. I was a child that never, ever, ever, ever cried before. So I welcome my tears when they show up. And then I will give you an invitation both to work with me and for the next one. Talk about that soon. So Mars is your inner warrior. It is the planet that can ignite your fire, depending on how you use it. It's the planet of action, and if it's not used in a good way, it can be very impulsive. It's the planet of courage, which can turn into aggression. It's the planet of determination. We could make it a little too forceful. Pushing you to pursue your goals, that could be a good thing, but it can be very intense if you're pushing yourself too hard, or if you're also pushing other people. It can help you defend what matters, and it's important to give it meaningful confrontations. Otherwise it can just like go here and there and blow up things. It depends on how it's placed in your chart and how many challenges it has, if it's well placed or if it's challengingly placed. My philosophy when it comes to astrology is that our chart is never against us. There is no planet that is against us, but we are presented with challenges and more, how shall I say, positive aspects that we need to use for our advantage in different ways. So when Mars is harnessed well, it can make you victorious. It's like that warrior that is armed with passion and confidence and focus, and like goes ahead and does what needs to be done in a thoughtful and persuasive way. Persuasive for yourself and hopefully also for others. But if it's misaligned, this energy can manifest as destructive tendencies. And it can find, it's important to find the balance to channel this power without being consumed by it. But because that is also something that can be problematic, that if you're like too much into it, you will not see others and you will not see yourself either. Mars is one of those ancient planets that has always ruled two signs. It's the rule of Aries and Scorpio. And those archetypes are very, very different. So the fire signs, they stand for initiative, action, center stage, being like a force of vitality, independence, confident, enthusiastic. And Aries is a cardinal sign, which means it is a sign that takes initiative, that does go forward, that wants to start things and get things going, while Leo and Sagittarius belongs to another group. And I will not talk about all of that today, but I will come back to that because I did send out to some of my loyal visitors that I will answer your question. If you have something that you want to know more about, I'm happy to answer them. And that goes for you. If you're here for the first time, beautiful, thank you, welcome here. And if you want me to cover something about astrology that you're wondering about, it has to be generic. I'll be happy to see if I can put something together. But then we have Scorpio, and Scorpio is a fixed sign. So that, the cardinal sign takes initiative, while the fixed sign is like staying in the same place. And water signs are more emotional, intuitive. They're into the transformational energies. They're creative, artistic, compassionate. Lots of psychology here, even psychic. So as you can see, it's like very different energies that are both ruled by Mars. So this double ruler, if we first look to how it acts and feels and does in Aries, it's an action that is directed outward, while in Scorpio, the energy goes inward. It's also a fixed sign, so it can be water as ice, or water that is conducted through sewers, for instance. What is it? Yep. You put on the faucet and it comes out in a controlled way. Fire, on the other hand, it just goes. Even if you have a candle, it's still like free and doing what it wants to do by itself. Aries stands for immediate action, while the Aries energy in Scorpio, or the way it rules Scorpio, is to act strategically. It's much more internal thinking and getting it done, so to speak, the right way. In Aries, it's instinctual, but it stands for profound transformation, rooted in your deep inner self when it comes to Scorpio. I have put that it stands for the sword in Aries and for the scalpel in Scorpio. And you will understand better what I mean by that soon. Mars fuels an insatiable drive for independence, while in Scorpio it endures the strength to face the dark. And what I'm talking about here are all characteristics of a warrior that you need. You need both of them. You have to be strategic. You have to be able to think, but you also have to do what needs to be done. You have to go to attack if necessary. Scorpio is a lot but like life and death. Aries stands for the life force, going out, taking part, while Scorpio goes like inwards and it's like more contrived. But we need that too. We need both of these forces, and Mars can be used in any way in your chart, and you will see that when I talk about the signs. So in Aries, beware of impatience, frustration, or a tendency to bulldoze through, which means both for yourself, that you do not listen to your inner signs and what signals you're giving yourself, and bulldozing over others, not listening to them, not being open to what people have to say. And when it comes to Scorpio, beware of holding grudges, of being too secrecy, and have a need for control. Controlling can be difficult when it comes to Scorpio. So these are different things that I can see, even if it's one planet, the way it rules those signs, and from where it rules, because that plays a part too, can turn out very different, even though it is the same planet. Now we are in a period where Mars has gone retrograde, and I did speak about that in the retrograde episode. It started on December 7th, and it will continue until February 25th. It can be difficult for Mars to be retrograde because it doesn't want to go backwards, it wants to go forwards. So I have added a couple of here of what to think about, because in the retrograde episode I was talking about all the planets that are going retrograde next year, and this goes for whenever they go retrograde. It's the same thing. So with Mars, rethink action plans. More patience will be required. It's very possible that you have already started to feel that it's something like that you don't get it out there, that something has like slowed down, and you have to be patient with this, because slowing down to achieve goals or starting new ventures is part of the Mars retrograde game, so to speak. I have felt it. I feel it. I feel that it's like creating this presentation was one of those things like, oh right, I just remember, oh right, that's why it feels like it's harder, and also like all these emotions that were coming up for me has to do with my story that I will tell you about later on. Instead of starting new things, it's good to revisit old strategies, things that you might not have gone through with, or perhaps you started like to renovate your home, and now it's the time to get going again. It's a great time to refine previous efforts or projects that require action-oriented resolutions. So taking action is still possible. You are not paralyzed, but you can feel a little constrained. And this can create frustration. So frustration and conflicts can surface. It's important not to let this pour out on others, or being too impatient with yourself, or beating yourself up. Keep a cool head, and also keep up physical exercise, though not too much. Energy conservation is important. So to be overly, this is the muscular planet, so to be overly exercising, it's not going to be good for you. Your energy levels might fluctuate, so to avoid feeling drained, be careful, listen to what your body's telling you, so you can go about it in a calm and productive way. And this also comes with watch for accidents. This has been going on, this thing with my throat, for a while. I have no idea what it is, but it's something about communication. Watch for accidents. Be extra mindful of physical safety and avoid impulsive action, especially if you're in traffic. Practice grounding and breathing. And when I say especially in traffic, so road rage is a thing. Just breathe. Take a breather before you make any rash decisions when it comes to anything. Oh, I can do that, and then you stretch too far and just ouch, or you stumble into something for no reason. So it's a really important long period of time, December to February 25th, where you keep yourself protected. Protect yourself. Use your Mars energy to protect yourself, because it's a very protective energy too. So here you can see Mars expressed in each sign. I will not read through all of them, but as I said, you can take a screenshot here. But if we take Aries and the Mars expression here, it's like bold and decisive and fearless. Mars here thrives on action. Use its energy to take the lead, but avoid burning out in your rush to achieve. So that is, it's, if you have your Mars placed in Aries, this is something to look out for. But if you have your Mars in Cancer, as I do, it's more on the protective and emotionally driven side. Mars in Cancer fights for home and heart. Use its strength to nurture and defend, but watch for passive aggressiveness. So there's always, with all the planets, something that is like, this is the good, productive, constructive part of it, and that one is, watch out for this, because these could be traps that are not as constructive for you. Or Virgo, analytical and precise. Mars in Virgo is a master of efficiency, which can be awesome. Use its power to perfect your craft, but be mindful of over criticism, especially of yourself. So those are just 3 examples, and if we have the next sign, in Scorpio, intense and relentless. Mars in Scorpio seeks transformation. Use its power to dive deep into your passions, but resist the pull of jealousy or control. Aquarius, innovative and forward-thinking. Mars in Aquarius thrives on breaking norms. Channel its power into revolutionary ideas, but avoid detachment from emotions, because Aquarius can be sort of detached. So the only way to know where your Mars is placed is to look at your chart. What is great about this is that you do not need to know exactly when you're born. You can still know where your Mars is placed in your chart, in what sign it is. We will not know in what house, but sign is good to know. So here is my Mars story. Some of you know that I was born with a disability, club feet, which means that the feet are turned in like this, and they cannot grow out. So I was put into narcosis when I was 18 days old, and they tried to like straighten out my feet in plaster casts. I was put up and down into narcosis for my first 6 months, about 30 to 40 times. That's a very traumatic start of life. When I was 6 months old, I had my first surgery. And I had surgery 5 times. I had to learn to walk 5 times. And my Mars really helped me to have that persistence and to fight through this. When I've been looking through my chart, which is what you can see here, I have circled Mars and Venus up in Cancer in my 7th house. And it is creating a very constructive and good angle with up there in Scorpio. That means that Mars rules Scorpio from Cancer. And you can see that there's Jupiter is there up in the Scorpionic house to the left, the blue. And then you go down to see the circle with the star close to it. And there you have the moon. And the moon rules Cancer. So this means that this grand trine is extraordinarily positive, because they have very good relationship with each other and they support each other all the time. In my world, this is one of the reasons why, here we go, why I managed to pull through. In general, I would say that leaving this planet was this close several times. If we go down, you see, as I have written, Moon Moon is the ruler in Pisces, and ruler of Cancer in Pisces. Pisces rules the feet. So that combination with the surgeon, which is Mars in this case, is ruling, the moon is ruling Mars, which means that these feet have this good configuration within the chart. And my feet have been some more or less pain. But I managed to become a dancer, which is like just weird. How is that even possible? A lot of artistic, creative energy in Pisces. And you can see that little star down there. That is my grandmother. As I have told you before, I work with asteroids, and I was looking for grandmother, and there are tens of thousands of asteroids that have names. So I was looking for grandmother, that did not exist. And then I was looking for the German word, I don't remember. No, that didn't exist. And mormor, which is in Swedish, that didn't exist either. And then I was like, now wait a second, I have a very important language in my life. I've lived part of my childhood in Italy, so I speak Italian. And nonna, perhaps, and nonna was there. So I looked, where can I find nonna in my own chart? And nonna is just 1 degree away from my moon. The moon is like the maternal caregiving energy. I told you. Oh. Yeah, when I had my operations, I had them here in Malmö, where my grandmother and my grandfather lived. My grandmother worked at the hospital, so she could come more often. At that time, parents could not be there. My mother was not interested in me, but my grandmother was. And during those times, I mean, this is over 60 years ago, the children were regarded as something they didn't feel and they didn't remember, and it's like totally crazy. And you could not visit anytime. But she worked at the hospital, so she could come up much more frequently. So this feeling of being in the hospital and being taken care of was really provided by my grandmother. So I've written here, nonna equals grandmother. And when I saw that it was that close, I started to cry. I mean, it was like, you cannot make up, you cannot pretend or make stories about astrology, because it's all here. You can read it, you can see it, you can feel it. And when you have this relationship with your chart, there's so many things that you can use it for, because it really is for your benefit. It's a question of knowing how can I use it and in what way. And it also it tells your story. So what I have also written here is that my Mars is in Cancer, and the cardinal 29th degree. It's a cardinal sign, Cancer. It's the sign of nurture in the 7th house. I work with one-to-one clients a lot. I have always been a one-to-one person, even when I work in groups as a teacher. And that part of my teacher, therapist, coach, supporter, healer, call it whatever, has a very strong support through Mars in it's Scorpio, because Scorpio frequently has a very deep psychological feel to it. It goes deep. Mars dares to penetrate. So this whole configuration for me gives me inner drive, the drive to learn to walk 5 times and become a dancer. And I can see what others don't see, because I have this psychic capacity and the psychological depth to me, and I can do the impossible. And that's, becoming a dancer when you're born with club feet, and it was really severe in my case. I had many operations, and it was really hard. And I also managed to endure neglect, because I was a very neglected child. In Swedish we would say maskrosbarn, which means that she didn't care. I'm talking about my mother. My father abandoned me when I was 4. So my childhood was traumatic. There is no other way to put it. But it has also turned me into a person that can be daring and very penetrative with my clients in a nurturing way. I always want the best. It's always with care. But if people come to me saying things that I know aren't true and that they're lying to themselves, I will tell them. If you don't want to work with that kind of person, don't come to me. But if you do want that kind of care, that is a penetrating care, tough love, as they say, but it's not tough love punch, it's tough love hold. So this is part of my Mars story. As you can see, there's a lot to unfold here. This is just like a little touch of what you can see. Now I want to talk about my surgeon. Oh, here we go again. Sophus von Rosen. That's him. That's not me, but it's a baby, alive, a real baby. And I remember him well. I remember him well. Oh. So, I don't know exactly when he was born, but I was experimenting. I'm not versed in rectifying charts, but I have a talent for it. When I don't know when someone is born, I kind of like feel myself into it, and then when I ask them, I'm usually right. Not always, but usually I'm right. So I don't know if this is right. I'm just making this up, but this is what I think. I think he was born in the middle of the day. We all know that it was May 11th, 1898. That's for sure. And his Mars is in Aries. There's a green arrow there down to Saturn. Saturn rules Capricorn, which is up to the right. And there you have what is called the North Node. Capricorn rules the structure of the body, which is the bones and the skin. With the scalpel, von Rosen cut through the skin to get into the bones. I have chosen this ascendant, Virgo, because it's very precise, very minute, and as a surgeon, you've got to be very precise and minute. He's also very innovative. He invented a lot of things to help children with their bone structures and hips and feet and everything that are still in use today. That's how brilliant this man was. And his moon is in his 6th house, which is the house of your work, your daily chores, how you present your daily routines, what you need to do. The moon is emotional and caring, and it has a relationship to the MC and the sun up there in Taurus. And Taurus is in the 9th house, and the 9th house stands for higher education and also international travel. This man traveled all over the world to lecture and teach about orthopedic intervention for children. So I might be wrong, but I think this is a good guess. And I'm so grateful I can't even talk about it. This man changed and saved my life. This man is the reason I'm not in a wheelchair. Why am I doing this? Oh dear. Oh, I can tell you, lots of therapy to be able to sit here and cry. I really had to, as a child, I really had to like pull myself together because life was so painful, so humiliating, and so impossible to endure that I had to get my Mars and my Saturn. I used to talk about Saturn, that Saturn got me through life, but it really is a combination between my Mars and my Saturn that makes it possible, that have like turned me into the person I am today through work. It did not come by itself. Time does not heal. Time does not heal. You got to do the work. Because we're getting to the end of this. This is my made-up Jennifer. She does not exist. I created the person born in Antwerpen to have just a chart that I can show. And if you are interested in knowing where your Mars is, you can just give me, if you don't have the exact time of day, that's fine. Because usually Mars is somewhere that you can see that it was on this day, it was in this sign. And then you can use what I was talking about before, if you come back to this presentation, or if you take a screenshot of of your signs, and you can see where your Mars is. I've signed these only to show that Mars here is conjunct with Saturn in Virgo, and from Virgo it rules Capricorn, no, Scorpio and Aries. So that is just the thing, that wherever Mars is, it also always has a relationship with Aries and Scorpio, always, because it is the ruler, and depending on where it is, it has a relationship to those places and placements. Whatever planets are there, as you can see, there are planets there, so they also have a relationship because they are under the rule of Mars, which is placed together with another planet here. So I want to just say this, that you can see in every chart there are like relationships and intricacies that will say something about you, that will tell your story. Mars or Saturn or ascendant or whatever it is. So you can do that, and I can just send it. I'll be happy to just send it to you here over DM. I want to say a couple of words about 2025, because it is a year of endings and beginnings. And I got a message in my DMs about asking if I could do a presentation or something about how, when to start a business and things like that, and say, but from what I saw of your 2025 introduction was that Mars is like that kind of thing. No, it's not about business. March next year. The endings and beginnings are about your life. It's about what's happening on the planet. It's much, much bigger than that. When it comes to starting a business, there are other techniques to see when that could be a good time. But this is what is ending in your life. What kind of time is like closing in? Is there an epoch that is like over? What do you want to begin? Are you moving? Have you been thinking about moving to another place, another country? Things like that. What major things about you and your existence is what I'm talking about. The endings and the beginnings of how do you exist on this planet? Your value systems, your core. What's going on here? That is what 2025 is about. And of course it will continue, because as I said in the first presentation, is sit down by the end of the year and make visions about where you want to go, not only for the coming year, but for your coming life. What are the visions that you have for yourself? Things that you have perhaps been pushing away, not daring to think about. Think about them. Pull them out. Make them visible. Use them for your benefit. It's an excellent year for that. Turmoil, most likely. Identity crisis, most likely. But use it, because this energy, this assistance in changing things will never come back. It's 2025 and 2026, but it starts here in 2025. We cannot ignore the initiation of this. So I have a 3-session package of 1 month that I call Cosmic Strategies for 2025. And this will help you to create unwavering clarity for your year ahead, personalize your alignment with life's rhythms, with your life rhythms that I was talking about, and harness the power of timing. You will be able to get in a much deeper connection with your inner self and transform challenges into triumphs. It's a possibility. It's not a promise, but sometimes you can see that this is a challenge, and how can I use this for my benefit, and how can I ride these waves in the easiest way possible, not necessarily easy, but easier. You can put strategies for your ambitious goals in place, and most likely experience more joy and less stress. That's the point. and also strengthening your relationships, because when you know more about who you are and what is important to you and what you can compromise with and what you cannot compromise with, because that exists too, then you will have better relationships, and you will find better relationships. You will form better relationships, both intimately and business-wise. So what is included in this roadmap? We will begin with a 20-minute call. That does not include the I want to speak to Stella about this, and here is this something for me. That's a 30-minute about call that is by itself, just to see, is this the right thing for you to do? If it's not, it's not. And we will know that, both of us, if this is the right thing to do. But if it is, we will start with a 20-minute call to set the stage for your year ahead. So I will know what to look for, what to research in your chart, and the different ways that you can use the chart, because there's so many techniques that you can use. And then we will have 3 transformative 60 to 90-minute sessions. I do not use a timer. And we will dive deep into your personalized astrology. And when I say I don't use a timer, it's usually about an hour, but sometimes it's a little longer, sometimes a little less, because when you say that it's going to be 60 minutes, a kind of stress shows up. I've been doing this kind of work, personal development, therapy, coaching, for 30 years. And I realized pretty soon, this doesn't, after about, 6 years, it was like, that you have to keep this timing. So I ditched that. I don't work like that at all. But I've noticed that it is about an hour, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. So you don't have to be stressed about it. Now we have to give it. I've experienced that with other people so many times, and I feel that stress myself. Oh my God, it's like 2 minutes left and I have 16 questions. Anyways, so between sessions you will be committed to empowering homework to guide your reflections and actions. You can write me questions, and I will give you some real homework for you to do in accordance with your chart and what we found there and what you have been talking about and saying that you need and what you're looking for. And then you will get 3 downloadable session recordings and a beautiful crafted PDF of the images of about 20 horoscopes from our work together, which means I'm looking into all these things and analyzing them for you, so you can use them for the coming year. This is a keepsake of your celestial roadmap for 2025. And when I say roadmap, it's not really like this is the road and this is the road. It's the ambience of the landscape. And sometimes you say, yeah, the best way is to walk out like here. Yeah, but that is just across the lake. So we have to go around. And sometimes it's like, oh, it's up or it's down. Oh, that's, we can't, we have to build something here, a bridge to get over to the other side, things like that. But it's everything you need to plan and align and thrive. And if you want to do this work with me, I suggest that you take advantage of 2024, because the current price for this is $9.97. And I will raise the price to $14.97 on January 1st. And one of the reasons is because I am working in accordance with my chart. I'm looking at my chart and say, what is it telling me? What is going on here? Where am I going? How do I up-level my own value and worth in front of myself? So that is also something I can help you with, to help you up-level your worth and value. And I know that a lot of business owners have a hard time pricing themselves in the right way. So book your free call, stellascott.com/Cosmic Strategies 2025. And you can book your time there, and we'll have this chat and see, is this the right thing for me? Because if it's not, I will not try to get you to buy something or commit to something that is not the right thing to do. Because I want you to be happy, and I want me to be happy too. So if you do that, this is where you must have your exact birth time, to the minute. Not guessing, not asking someone who said, I think. It has to be exact to the minute. I know mothers who have said, I think it was about 10 and then it was about 2. Yeah, so you never know. What will this give you? A life lived with purpose and intention. This isn't just planning for a year, it's creating a life moving forward that feels meaningful and aligned with your inner core. You will wake up every day knowing you are living your truth, embracing your power, and moving towards your dreams, not living up or down, to other people's expectations. Next time, next week, we will talk about money. How to find the money in your chart. It's going to be on Wednesday, December 18th at 6 o'clock p.m. klockan 18, Central European Time. And there are what is called money houses. The presentation is not created yet on LinkedIn, but it will come. And if you feel like, I don't want to miss this, you can write me DM, just say, give me the link, please. And I will send you the link. So I have no idea who has been here, but I'm really happy for those of you that have been here live, if anyone was here live. And I'm also very grateful that you have been here looking at the replay. And you can always contact me about the astrology. And if you have ideas and are wondering about things, like not your personal chart, but generic topics that could be of interest for many people, give me suggestions and I'll see what I can do. Because I've started to think about next year, planning about how to do this, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So book your free call, stellascott.com/Cosmic Strategies 2025. And I wish you to be royal because it's your birthright. And my last words to you today is, there's nothing wrong with you. There never has been anything wrong with you, and there never will be anything wrong with you. Take best of care. Bye for now.